Hey everyone, this is Karen Waksman, founder of Retail MBA, and I'm so excited about today's interview. This is Allison Maslan. Hi, Allison.
Hey there, Karen. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
I am so excited to have you here. Allison and I keep running into each other. She is amazing, and I've seen over the years her business just skyrocketing. And she teaches people how to scale their brands and their businesses, and she'll talk more about that. And I'm going to ask her who she is and why she knows what she's talking about. But ultimately, I mean, I think it was like every quarter I'd run into you at a totally different event. I mean, where it was like just something going on. So,
And we're like the only women there.
right. It's very complicated to find women in our internet marketing space and, selling stuff online and stuff like that, just in our niche. So anyways, Allison, tell me your background so people kind of get a feel for who you are.
Yeah, great, Karen. Thank you. I have been a business owner for the past almost 40 years, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
But I started my first business when I was 19. And my father was a very innovative business owner. He started his business in 1955 and grew a retail. Speaking of retail, I know that's your expertise, but he had over 50 women's clothing stores across the country. And so I grew up, following him from store to store, and he had such a passion for his work. And so I believe that energy was just infused into my blood. And so I started my first business at 19, and I'm running now my 10th company, which is Pinnacle Global Network, for the last 10 years. And we mentor business owners all over the world. So business is a big part of my life. I love it. It's exciting and ever changing. And as you know, all kinds of ups and downs.
I've actually been to your events as well, by the way, just not to cut you off, but I have been to your events as well. And I mean, people are jumping and excited, and yeah, it's a big event. I mean, you can talk about what you actually teach and how you support people, but just a lot of fun. I highly recommend stuff that she does.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we have fun. I mean, here's the thing, business is, it definitely can be a serious game, but hey, it is our life. Like if you're doing it, you might as well be having fun along the way. That's my philosophy anyway.
Don't you have one of those trampoline things in your backyard too, where you're like, what are they called?
Yeah.
Not trampoline. It's
a flying trapeze.
Flying trapeze, yeah, much cooler. A flying trapeze in her backyard. She's like flipping around. My friends went there and showed videos. It's legit. So she's hardcore business and then also does amazing things. That's cool. So what does Pinnacle do? Like, what's the essence behind it? So you guys are helping scale and grow businesses, essentially, correct? And you're giving them like specific strategies. You're working closely with them. What exactly do you guys do?
Yeah, so the work I do is based on a proprietary method I created called the scaleit method.
Okay.
And that scaleit is the acronym for strategic vision, cash flow, alliance of the team, leadership, and execution. So 5 components you have to grow and scale a sustainable company, profitable company.
Right.
And so we work with CEOs that we have 2 different levels, 6-figure going to 7, and then our scale level, which is 7 and 8-figure business owners going up from there that have, over 100 employees.
Wow. So, so say somebody's, they have a business, it's moving along, they have a consumer product brand, or they're selling products online. And, they obviously are looking to scale. That's why they're part of this venture, this summit that we're doing. Just curious, like, what would you talk to people about in terms of scale? What are they looking for? What do they need to think about? Any suggestions?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things, and obviously depends on the level that they're at. But one of the things we really look at is how do we take their product or service and find many different ways to reach their customer. So I'll just give you an example. So one of our clients has a company called Dog Is Good. And you might have heard of them, but dogisgood.com. And they do products for lifestyle products for people who love dogs.
Cool.
And you and I already know we love dogs, right? And so they built this brand, and they are in retail stores across the country with all these gift items. But as you know, as you get into the retail stores, your margin is cut, right? So you've got to get into a lot of stores. And we said, okay, what are some other things that they could do with the same products to get, more visibility and get into the hands of other people? So one was obviously direct to consumer, and really working on their email marketing and working on their visibility to build their list. So that's one thing. Then we've helped them create a subscription program for the retailers, so that the retailers are signing up for this monthly program, so they don't have to really think about what they need to buy. And they are, they always have the inventory filled up, which then also creates, revenue that they can count on a monthly basis. So that's one other one. Another is licensing their brand. So because they built this familiarity with their brand, now people want to buy the Dog is Good brand for their products. So Skechers has created some shoes with the Dog is Good, little cartoon and things that they have on the shoes, and other things.
Sure.
And another one that they have done recently, which we helped them with, was to create a direct sale program, which they call their exhibitor program. So they have all these people now that love their products, and so they want to help them start their own businesses. These are their customers. So now the customers are creating pop-up shops. Now they're doing them virtually, but across the country, and they're selling the Dog is Good products. So their now fan base becomes their sales force. So here you have one, traditional model that they've turned into 5 different ways of reaching their customer.
I love that. I mean, first of all, like, there's certain products subscription based, obviously, would be like supplement companies that are repeat orders, right? Like
Yes.
different things that someone would need on a consistent monthly basis, right? So obviously with dogs, they have treats, they have this, they have that. That's what you're talking about. That's what they were doing.
Yeah, but also for some of the gifty retail stores too, even buying some of their gift products and things like that were super popular and always selling out. So things that they already had a history with, that they knew they were going to sell. And they've also created a membership program for their direct to consumer as well. So they have a monthly program, and this is a great way to scale, so that you have, scaling is, what that really means is that you are multiplying your reach beyond you. So it's this idea of one to many. So instead of just selling one-to-one or one direct to consumer or one store, it's like, how do we take the same effort and reach many people at once and have that income that you can count on a regular basis? So they've done that with the retailers, and they've done that direct to consumer.
I love that. I mean, I was thinking about, the direct sale approach, right? I mean, going direct to consumer. Like, as of recent part of this summit, there's people like Ryan Dice and different internet marketers who are like highly focused on, you have to find a way to capture your audience and capture their emails and follow up with them and sell different varieties of different programs, different, products that they can buy and all these things. So, do you talk or support people with like helping understand how to kind of develop those strategies, like on a deeper scale? Because sometimes people are like, well, this is cool. I mean, I love the concept of tracking down, more leads and stuff, but like how? Like, I sell headphones that you can sleep in. Like, what do you do in those scenarios, right? Where you can capture and scale and stuff like that. I don't know, just curious.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we do is really brainstorm. What are some real creative ways? So if you talk about the headphones, for instance,
Sure.
We would say, okay, well, first of all, who is the ideal market? Who would really love these? And let's say that there are some high-end headphones. Well, what if you did a joint venture with like the Four Seasons Resort and in their spas? And so that while they're getting their massage, they have these headphones on, you know, it's like, again, a one-to-many strategy where you're thinking a little bit outside of the box. And, you know, here, if you can find something like, like one of our clients has developed these high-end pillows and, you know, pillow covers, and it wraps around the eyes. So while you're lying there. And
I think
so,
it's my customer as well.
oh, really?
I
That's so
know.
funny.
She came to one of my events, actually. That's cute.
Oh, that's so funny.
That's
I'm
so
sure we
fun.
probably have some cross customers.
Yeah, we
But
probably.
it's like finding, you know, what are some institutions that have several locations, and so that, you know, you get into market into one, and then you can get into several. And so the joint venture opportunities, that it is a great way to do that. So, you know, let's say that your product is great for a new business customer. I don't know, maybe you sell business supplies, or maybe you sell really beautiful desk accessories. I don't know, like this thing. I don't even know what it is. It's a candle. And so, you know, maybe you go to GoDaddy and you say, what if we could do an alignment together?
Right.
And I'm either targeting people that are, you know, they're not buying from you anymore, or you're offering another product or service. So it's a win-win for you. You're making an affiliate fee, but you're also giving your customers, you know, extra support. So I really like to do those things where you're thinking outside of the box. And in that case, GoDaddy, for instance, they already have a huge list. They already have a great reputation. So thinking for ways of, you know, I'm always thinking, what's the one to many? How do I use the same amount of time and energy to have a much bigger reach?
Right. I mean, why I started teaching people how to get into stores is that I didn't want to go store to store opening up small accounts. I wanted to find who had the biggest ROI for my time and effort. One person can buy a lot of products really, really fast. And I love that you're doing it for other avenues and revenue streams and opportunities. So I think that's really, really imperative. So, I mean, I know that, you know, through learning, through, you know, going to your events and things that you've talked about, there are multiple ways to scale. So I know that you said revenue opportunities. We kind of talked about that, but what about like hiring and stuff like that? I mean, I know that I've seen businesses grow and scale because they were able to hire the appropriate people. Do you just kind of wanted to get your feel on what you think about that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people hold back on building the team because they're afraid to spend the money. And I totally get that. But if you're hiring appropriately for the role, and you find people that are truly passionate and committed, you need to look at them as fuel for your company. Because with the right people, they'll more than pay for themselves, you know, by at least 3 to 10 times their salary. So
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, some people are like, yeah, but I keep hiring these people and they're horrible. You know, I'm not getting anywhere with the people that I'm hiring. Like, I mean, maybe you have a magic touch. I mean, you know, like, how does one hire the appropriate people? It's very complicated these days, right? There's so many ways to do it. I'm just curious.
Well, it's, you know, it's something that we teach. And like I was talking about the scaleit method, the first one is strategic vision.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's your vision? What's your mission? What are your core values? And when you have a team that is really aligned and all in, you start attracting the right people. So just to give you an example, so with with Pinnacle Global Network, you know, as we mentor these business owners, if I was the only one doing the mentoring, I would only be able to help so many people. So several years ago, I began teaching my method to other CEOs that have run successful companies to come on board with my team. And so they mentor our clients. So we have 12 now. And we're really picky about who those people are. First, they have to have the business experience, they have to have the skills, all of that, and they need to want to do this. But they also have to have, really high integrity. They have to be super committed to the clients, like no matter what, they're there for them. And, so these are all things that we already know before we even have the conversation with these people. And I think one of the biggest mistakes, Karen, that people make when they're hiring is that you get desperate, like, oh my God, I need this marketing person, or I need this assistant. And they do an interview, you interview them one time, and you're like, you're hired, without even really thinking clearly about, how does this align with the vision and what is the role? Like, what are your expectations? What is it that you really, at the end of the day, want them to do before you even write the ad?
Fair enough.
Because otherwise, you're not clear, they get on, they're not clear. It's kind of everybody's setting themselves up for failure. So that's, what I find. And if you have them interview several times with other people, not just you, and even if you don't have other employees, have your spouse interview, have a really good client of yours interview, and make them work for it. We do a minimum of 3 interviews, and usually it comes down to about 5 before they are hired. And some people are going to drop off after 1 or 2, and then you're like, okay, great, thank you. You were not a fit.
So, would you do that for positions that were kind of lower level positions versus the higher ones? Or are you talking about what salaries are we talking about here where you start putting more in place? Just curious.
Yeah, obviously the bigger positions are going to take
Sure.
a longer, and then there's back and forth negotiation on salary and so forth. You can't move too slowly though, because then, they're interviewing with other people as well. And, we've all had that, right? When you get to, oh, I'm ready to hire you, and they've taken a job somewhere else. That does happen. But it's better to follow that golden rule: hire slowly, fire fast. Take the time, even with the positions that are, not necessarily higher level, because look, we all want people that are going to hang around for a while. And I think they're going to have a lot more respect for your company if they see that the process is organized, that they see that you really care, that this role is important, and you put the effort in, you're going to get that effort back and more.
I love that. So really what you're saying is the people that you put effort, you put the energy, you put the love in, you care a little bit, you ensure that they're excited and they're happy, and you set it up properly, and you don't just throw people around and hire really fast and la la la. You actually put the energy, and and the output is that you just scale your business better, faster, stronger. Correct? That's essentially what you're saying.
100%. And then of course, once they're hired, I always tell people, are you being a boss or are you being a leader? So a boss would micromanage over every tiny little thing. You'd be CC'd on every email and then correct them constantly. And we've all done it. We've all done it. We worry, oh my God, will I lose this account? I've worked so hard at this, yada, yada, yada. But if you keep doing that, you are choking the growth of your company.
Fair enough.
Because you're the bottleneck. And you're giving them the message that, oh, I don't trust you, or your ideas are not worthy. And so you end up building a team that feels like they can't move without your okay. And that really squelches their passion and their excitement for the role.
So at what point do you feel like it's really important to hire and scale? Is there a level where it's time, you do it right away? Do you do it when you create a process and put it in a place? Just curious, your thoughts on something like that.
Well, I have 5 phases in this process. Do you want me to just quickly go through them? Okay, I think that might be helpful.
Okay.
So phase 1, I call the seeker. And this is when you're getting your business off the ground. It's generally you, maybe you have a partner, but you're like the 5-woman or 5-man band in your business. You're the janitor, you're the salesperson, you're the bookkeeper. Yeah. You obviously cannot scale there, but we all start there. You know, every time we have a new business, I've been there every time. Then we move on to phase 2, which I call the pioneer phase. And this is where you know your target audience, you got your revenue stream up and going, you're starting to really make some sales. You have an assistant. That's usually your first hire. And if you hire your assistant within the first 6 months of your business, your business will get to 7 figures in half the time, because you know you're getting some of your time back. You generally have a marketing person and maybe hopefully a bookkeeper at this point.
Right.
Still can't scale at this point because you're approving everything that's going in and out of your company. You're still kind of the bottleneck, and this is where a lot of business owners get stuck in phase 2. Phase 3, I call the ringleader. And I call it the ringleader because it's pretty much a circus in phase 3, but it is a phase that you need to get through. And the reason it's a circus is because you start to build the teams. And teams can be like families. And as we all know, families can have interesting dynamics. Right. And if you're not doing the hiring process that I shared earlier, and you're not super clear on the roles, you're going to have a revolving door. So it takes a little while to get those skills and to, you know, make the mistakes and figure out, oh, you know I don't want that. I really want this. And making that shift from boss to leader, stepping back so you're not micromanaging. But you do start to have a good vision in phase 3. You start to get meetings, team meetings, and so forth. So you're not, you know, so you're making good use of your time. But a lot of companies die here, Karen, because they don't make that shift, and they do have frustrated employees and so forth. I think before COVID, it was 70% of employees said they were disengaged.
Wow.
So you can imagine now. Wow. So in phase 3, they're probably working for you. So the key is moving into phase 4 is where it really gets fun, is where you start to see those leaders emerging within your team. You know, those people that just step up and they're empowered and they kind of want to take the reins. And so you support them, you empower them to become leaders, or you bring other leaders in. And your team, you're working with the team. I call this the co-creator phase. You're building it together. And they start coming to you and saying, Karen, you know what? I couldn't sleep last night because I was really thinking about how we can grow our profits. Or I was really trying to think of how can we improve our customer journey. And you'd be like, oh my God, this is like, I love this person, you know, because they're actually thinking of those bigger questions. And this is where you start to step back. You begin to replace yourself. You are getting the things off your plate that you can delegate to other people. And you start to move where you're really working on the business, not in the business. And then phase 5, I call the visionary, and why we got into business in the first place. And so that really your team can run with it without you. And so if you have an online business, for instance, you know, by this time, you know, you've really got your systems down, and you have people running your marketing, you have people running your sales and your customer delivery and all of that. They're running it by you, but you have other people that are able to make that decision. Because ultimately, a very successful business is one that you can leave for a good period of time and it continues to thrive. So there you have it, 5 phases.